Let's take you through the papers. Broadcaster, journalist, entertainer, stand-up, Pete Price.
And owner of Trifocals.
And owner of Trifocals, which I'd never heard of before. And journalist Ella Whelan. Both here. Good to see you both this morning.
Thank you.
Pete.
By the way, I'm interrupting. I thought you were wonderful then talking to the Minister, and I think you two should be politicians. Because I think you know more. Ooh. Journalists know more than any of them.
Oh, I don't know. It's a thankless task being a politician.
Yeah. Journalists know a lot for 10 minutes, don't they? And then they move on.
Given our secret away.
Yeah, that is the secret of being a journalist.
To be fair, I always say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none.
That's absolutely.
I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I don't know about
50 years I've been doing that.
And then goes in one ear and out the other, and there you go home. And
diets. I know a fair bit about diets, Pete.
I think it's sad they're talking now about heart disease tied up with diets. You know, these crash diets. Yeah, they've done a research, and it's an interesting story. But the whole diet business, which is worth billions upon billions, really, it's what you put in your mouth. Oh, you don't put in your mouth. You don't put weight on. I've fought my weight all my life, so I've really struggled. But they frighten me, these crash diets, because it must be doing you harm. Your body some harm. And everyone's going over to Turkey and getting these gastric bans as well, and coming back and losing 3 stone and can never eat again. You know, I mean, you've got to start. Exercise is great. I think through the pandemic, people learnt that how important exercise is, but we mustn't go back to our ways. But it's interesting that
the crash dieting has to be bad for you, because it gives you problems later on in life. You think when you're younger you can get away with it, but later on,
can't be good for your heart. Can't be in any shape.
But everyone wants a quick result, don't they?
Well,
I totally understand. I've dieted over the last 6 months, and I've lost a couple of stone.
But you look great.
But it's been one of those. It's been slow and steady.
But then you keep it off when it's slow and steady.
Yeah, but slow and steady is really hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah. Maybe an incentive, because, I mean, have you been dieting for the wedding?
For the wedding? No, I haven't.
Are you sure you haven't?
No, that wasn't the plan. It was just my mother saying,
but you look better with it.
You could probably be losing £1 or £2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
we've got problems here, because one of the lovely ladies now goes out and gets us breakfast. Never had that before at GB.
Do they?
Oh.
Anything you want?
No.
We don't get offered breakfast.
No, we
What's
don't
going
get
on?
Nor did we. This was a news, wasn't it?
I'm nervous about commenting on this because Pete's just watched me have about 6 biscuits before 7 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not qualified to talk. But the thing about crash dieting is, when you think about it, you think about teenagers only, drinking water all day, what we used to do at school, eating celery because someone told us it reversed calories and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's been rehabilitated into, I can't tell you how many times I've seen things like juice cleansers or stuff, and it's made to sound like this incredibly healthy thing, but actually what you're doing is starving yourself for a week, and it's sort of dressing up very bad health practices in a kind of healthy
You're putting your body under stress, really.
Very much so.
And that's where this report says, you could be really damaging yourself.
But it must be. It must be damaging to your heart. And when you've been very big and you've got all that excess skin, and then your body inside has been, wow, what's happening to me now?
And the stress on your knees and your joints and your back.
And you get diverticulitis. Which is an issue with your bowel.
Oh, really?
Which is very nasty.
Well, I also hear it's not good for sex.
What?
Why?
Dieting?
Dieting because you're up and down. Oh, that's a bad choice of words. Sorry about that.
Should we change tack?
Let's
quickly.
COVID, Ella, in the FT. Hey, you bring the tone down every time.
It was an accident.
Well, I mean, you've been covering this across the morning, and it's everywhere, the fact that there has been a rise in COVID cases. 4.9 million were reported in the week just gone, ending March the 26th. But and the Financial Times talks about the fact that this is having a knock-on effect in offices, that places are emptying out because people are going off sick. But the flip side to this, so there's always with these stories, it's headline with this shocking stat, X number of million people are off with COVID. But we know that hospital cases are rising, but in very, very small numbers. The same with deaths, that we're in the sort of like low hundreds rather than anything like we've seen before in the thousands. And that actually most people who catch Omicron at the moment suffer from a kind of a sniffle, maybe a bit of a cough, maybe a bit of a cold, something that you wouldn't in previous years have gotten off work with. You would have stayed on and just had a load of tissues by your desk. So the question is, do we have do we moving forward have a culture in which we keep treating COVID like this very special thing that you have to take special measures for and come off work? Or does it become part of normal life, particularly with the fact that they're upping now vaccinations for the elderly and putting in the kind of measures that will protect people for whom it might prove fatal or dangerous? And I think it's just important to always remind people that even if the numbers are high in the millions, that looks frightening, but that doesn't necessarily translate into danger and a need for restrictions.
Well, how many people have got flu and at work with flu? We've got to live with it. We have got to live with it. 6-point-something million people are waiting for other treatments to save their lives. We've got to learn to live with this.
And there are still people dying of it.
Yeah. But there are flu.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. How comparable is that number to the people who you could say are dying of flu? Or other things?
Well, we know that it's difficult to compare COVID with flu because we know that it's so much more transmissible. We know that obviously previous strains have been completely incomparable to flu because they've been so much more deadly. But the thing with Omicron is that for the vast majority of the population, it poses no real threat. And for those for whom, either immunocompromised or people who are elderly, there is the vaccination process, which is being successful so far.
So maybe rather than treating the whole population with this sort of COVID panic situation,
it has to be more targeted.
Maybe it should be more targeted towards those who are going to be vulnerable. Which is what we do with the flu. Which is what we do with flu.
Flu vaccines.
It's difficult, isn't it, to know?
I was just looking, influenza and pneumonia, which are often linked. In 2019, there were 26,398 deaths in the UK.
Gosh.
Wow.
See, that's very high.
It's big, isn't it? We forget about that.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the spike when everyone comes back from the Easter holidays.
Yes.
Because everyone's going away.
I still haven't had it,
You're very lucky.
Yeah.
I've had
Me
it
either,
twice.
touch wood. We were talking about the 40th anniversary of the Falklands. Today is the 40th anniversary. And we were saying, how does COVID affect people in the Falkland Islands? The population is 2,840. Small, isn't it? COVID cases, 123. Deaths, 0.
Yeah. But we've done well.
They've done well.
Quite how that works out in terms of percentages and things, I don't know.
Don't know. But at least,
no deaths, well, that's positive.
No, that's very good.
In the Express, Pete, Dame Edna, going back onto a
double-page spread on Dame Edna.
I love
one
Dame
of life's
Edna.
characters. And he's going out on stage as himself, as Barry Humphries, to talk about his happy days. I've been a broadcaster for 40 years. The most bizarre interview I've ever done was with Barry Humphries. He came in looking amazing. No, as Barry, but he came in with a hat, big scarf, because he's very... And I said, now, this is what we do. And he went, oh, no, this is what we do. And he went down and became Edna and took over the interview and completely controlled and finished when he wanted to finish. And he went, I really enjoyed that, and walked out and I went, what?
Wow.
What? That was a lesson in my word. He came to the Empire, brutal. I always remember his first, when he walked on stage, and he was on a crane, and he went straight up to the guards and went, you're in the cheap seats, so I came to say hello, and then went back down.
Oh, isn't that brilliant?
Loved him. He's one of life's characters.
Incredible.
Oh,
absolutely incredible.
Have you two interviewed him?
Oh, yes, many
have
times.
you?
Oh, as Dame Edna, many times. But he used to do the whole thing. He used to come into Breakfast Telly in those days. He'd come on, first of all, as Dame Edna, because that took a lot of work. And then he'd come on later as... Les. The ambassador. Les Patterson. Les Patterson, who was bizarre.
Vile.
And then a bit later on, he'd come on as himself when he'd taken everything on. He was, still is, the most amazing entertainer.
It's just when you see... I've seen him live... But when you see those interviews, and as you say, Pete, he just takes over. You can't ask him a question.
No, he says what he wants, what he intended to say from the start.
Love it.
But, brilliant. And so he's going on tour.
He's going on tour as himself, which I want.
Couldn't recommend
for.
More, absolutely. Get yourself a ticket.
Fabulous. It's a shame. Still, even if he's being himself, you still need to take your Gladio. You still need to take your Gladio light and throw onto stage.
But if he's going on tour, maybe he'll come in and talk.
Oh, maybe. That would be nice.
Yeah.